Okay, thank you. Good evening. It is now 7 o'clock, and as the board and administrators take their places today, this is time for the regular meeting of the Howell Township Board of Education. Roll call. Mrs. Pompo.
Here.
Mr. Gurman.
Here.
Dr. Love.
Here.
Mrs. Magano did call. She will not be with us tonight. Mrs. Malley as well did call and will not be with us tonight. Mr. Miller.
Here.
Mr. Moretti.
Here.
Mr. Bongiovanni.
Present.
Mr. O'Brien will be here. Is here.
I am here.
Mr. O'Brien.
Here.
You have a quorum. Shall we rise to salute the flag?
Yes.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please remain standing as we hear the national anthem and a patriotic song.
Let
Thank you, Mr. Murphy and boys and girls. What a fabulous job as we all take our seats.
That was awesome.
Yeah, if you could all stick around, we'd like to just keep certificates and recognize you shortly, okay?
Announcement by the President as made by the Secretary has been noted to this meeting as required by Chapter 231, Public Law 1975, were distributed by the Secretary on April 11, 2017. It is now time for awards. It is the Board President and Superintendent's remarks regarding that student recognition. Mr. Superintendent.
Please, sir.
Sure, thank you so much, Mr. Sanisak, Mr. President. Let us begin our April meeting with some important work, and that's recognizing the outstanding youngsters that do so many wonderful things throughout our school district. And we will begin by Mr. Murphy recognizing the wonderful boys and girls from our Newberry choir here that did an outstanding job. I see Dr. Quinn pumping his fist in pleasure up on the landing there.
And I've asked Ms. DePompo and Mr. Miller to join in.
Yep, Ms. Murphy, you can, I don't know if you can't hear your voice loud enough, you can come to the mic and call them up and we'll get a picture with the kids.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Miller, Mr. Pompo.
Good evening. This is our select group, the Cobra Tones from Newberry School. We're the Cobras. All right. I'd like to call down Sophia O'Reilly. Kaylee Hassett. David Fittenbaum. Amaya Snyder. Emma Duroff. Jeremiah Martinez. Could not be with us tonight. Maggie Wright. Robert Marvales. Christopher Zayek. Alexandra Rivera. Dominic Grisanti. Samai Rizvi. Emily Horvath. Bethany Horvath. Kashav Nair. And Kira Zimmer. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Murphy.
And Mr. Murphy.
Boss, we have to recognize Mr. Murphy. Thank you, Mr. Murphy. Thank you, boys and girls. That was a wonderful way to launch this evening's meeting. Always great when we can hear the wonderful work of our students. Also this evening, we will be recognizing a very special individual who was entered the winning entry to a design contest for a logo for our very own Howell Alliance, which is a fabulous agency here in town that helps so many individuals and so many residents of Howell Township in different ways. And at this time, where's Miss Ravone? There she is. Miss Ravone's going to come up, and she is our student assistance coordinator for our school district and also a member of the Howell Alliance and represents the school district in that role.
And Mr. I saw I've asked Mr. Gurman and Mr. Moretti
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So Mr. Moretti and Mr. Gurman make their way up to join us as we recognize a very special individual. Excuse me, one more. And is Dr. Hennig Dr. Hennick, why don't you come down? This is a Middle School South youngster, and I know that you're very proud of your students there at South when they accomplish great things.
Great.
Good evening. The Howell Lions Design a Logo Contest winner, Chelsea Berwick, was honored by our mayor and the town council on March 7th. She's a 7th grade student at Middle School South. Her design was issued in our prevention press through the Alliance and was also distributed to local news sources. She received a $25 gift card, and her logo will also be wrapped on our school resource officer, Officer McBride's police car. So her logo will be around town and on all of our Alliance municipal advertising.
Graphic design?
Mr. Isola, at some point, we'd love to get that logo also up on our website and share with the public.
Sure, we'll get the link to the article up, and in fact, we'll display it at our May meeting. It'll be something we open the meeting with.
Terrific, thank you, sir.
Thank you. The next group of individuals will be our fine individuals that competed and did such a great job in our Scholastic Olympics, which you'll hear a little bit about from, I believe, Mr. Greta and Mr. Goodall, our representation from our G&T program, along with the building principal, Mr. Farley, and Dr. Hennick, and I see Mr. Higginson, who is one of our teachers making his way up. What board members will be joining us here, sir?
And I've asked Mr. Bongiovanni and our Chair of Education, Dr. Lowe, to...
Beautiful. Thank you both.
Thank you.
Thank you. At this time, what we'd like to do is invite all the students who completed in the Donovan Catholic Scholastic Olympics down. We're going to have you stand right over here by Mr. Goodall. And then as we call your name, you can come right across here and accept your award, which is certainly well deserved. So if we can get those students who participated in the Donovan Catholic Scholastic Olympics. Okay, just so everyone understands, we have Mr. Goodall with us tonight. He's the supervisor of our Gifted and Talented program at the middle school level. We also have Mr. Higginson, who's one of our fantastic teachers who accompanied these students to the Scholastic Olympics. And unable to make it tonight, but they did accompany them to the Scholastic Olympics. That's Miss Bender and Miss Bracco from Howell Middle School North. So without further ado, I'm going to start calling up our recipients. We're going to start with Howell Middle School North, and then Mr. Higginson will call the names for Middle School South. For a bronze medal in math, Melanie Tan. Also with the bronze medal in the category of art, Emma Slate. Bronze medal in music, Connell Spar. Bronze medal in history, Gregory Moore. Silver medal in art, Gina Deej. Silver medal in science, Isabella Stromolo. Gold medal in science, Amia Milnes. And gold medal in technology, Miraj Ahmad. Okay, this time I'm going to invite Mr. Higginson up to present the South Awards.
Hello, everybody. Good evening. Before I announce who the individuals were and where they placed, the first thing I want to do is just let everybody know how extraordinarily hardworking these kids are. They underestimate themselves, and yes, for a Project Plus, they do underestimate themselves. They achieve so much, and over the last 18 years of teaching Project Plus, they're one of the best groups I've ever had. All right? With a gold medal in art, Beata Wallach. Ruth Daly. With a silver medal in music, Timothy Chu. With a gold medal in history, and I'm a history teacher, so I'm very proud of that, is Mason Weiss. No, he's here. With a silver medal in science, Brendan Vogel. With a gold medal in English, Sasha Renton. Anj Coffey. With a silver medal in English, Kayla Melendez. With a silver medal in history, Brendan Morgan. With a silver medal in math, Kian Dow. All right, with Daniel Bossett, this is the remainder of the team that's not here. Samuel Garcia, Sophie Jabber, William Mitchell, Ian Stauffer, Jenna Strauss, and that's the team.
Let's take one nice photo op of both groups together. 2 middle schools, 1 community. Here we go.
Look up toward the audience. They don't have Congratulations. Any of you have anything for the team? 20 teams there, no? 20 teams and we had
20 teams, yeah, in Howell, South one.
Very nice.
All right, congratulations. Such a source of pride. We love to see our students thriving in the classroom, but when we get the opportunity to put ourselves in positions where we're competing and stretching our classroom experiences, it's always wonderful to see our kids perform at the highest levels. Which leads us to our next recognition of the evening. Our TSA program, Technology Students Association, is a really great program, and I know that Mr. O'Brien will ask 2 board members to help Ms. Angle and our advisors present. But here's the one thing I'm going to say. Normally I take everyone's lines. Here's what I'm going to say this evening. Howell Township Public Schools have been active in the TSA Association for years. We were one of the first middle schools on the scene. And when we first started competing, people said, oh, you know, you go in there, but there's not a lot of schools. Well, TSA has changed a lot. There are middle schools from across this state competing now. But the one thing that hasn't changed is we still come home with amazing accomplishments from our outstanding students with the work of their advisors and their teachers assisting them along the way. So the one constant in this program has been our success, and it should not go unnoticed tonight. At this time, I'll ask Ms. Engel, our Director of Digital Innovation, to come on up and intro our TSA program and our advisors. And who will be joining us today, sir?
I'm going to have Mr. German and myself will be assisting.
Come on up.
Hi, good evening. As Mr. Isola indicated, students competed in the state conference, the state TSA conference, and those students that qualified at the state competition will also have the opportunity to compete at the national conference, which is being held this year in Orlando, Florida. At the state conference this year, we had 3 additional districts join from throughout the state, which was comprised of over 800 students that competed in the event, and which is 100 students more than last year. This year, our TSA chapters between North and South brought home 19 chapter trophies, and some of the things that they placed first in, and we could really see that the kids are definitely experienced with coding, computer gaming, algorithms, because first place in community service video, STEM animation, video game design, website design, forensic technology. You can see a lot of that deals with, as I said, algorithms, programming, and working a lot with the language of computers. At this time, I'd like to call up Mr. Langenberger. He never likes to be called first. But as Mr. Langenberger is coming up, I'd really like to thank the board as well as the administration. You always support this program. It is amazing. Hopefully one year you'll be able to come out and see the kids compete as well. The students from Middle School South that are here this evening, that's kind of do the same thing that we did before. South TSA that placed in states, come on down, come over here. And then Mr. Langenberger will announce your names.
This truly was an amazing year for TSA. We've seen such a tremendous success from all the students, and one of the things I like to note, not only are they dressed very well tonight, but for each of them, they have adopted a leadership in them in which they've taken an opportunity to really strive beyond what we do in our classroom every day. They've taken that individual initiative and really rose to the top to become leaders in and using through technology. So we certainly saw some wonderful things this year, and I'd like just to take the moment now to recognize those students that are here with us tonight. So when you hear your name, come on over and get your certificate. The first one I'd like to recognize is Lee Du Arcal for first place video game design. Matt Cedar, first place video game design. Jimmy Ganay, first place website design. Connor Morin, first place video game design, third place microcontroller design. Ethan Rodriguez, third place microcontroller design. Ashley Taylor, third place system control technology. Nicholas Viola, first place website design. David Wagenblast, first place website design. Give me just a second, Samantha. I have it here, don't worry. Samantha Messina, third place, environmental engineering. All right, let's have just one more round of applause for Middlesbrough South TSA. Okay, all right. Why don't you guys stay up here? We're going to clean down this more. Ms. Sales is the advisor for Middle School North, so I'd like to invite her up over here. And at this time, we would like the students from Middle School North to come over and stand on the side there. Now, while they're coming down and getting themselves settled, I'd also like to share with you that we will have tentatively 7 students from Middle School South who will be going to national competition in Orlando, Florida. And I'm very proud to announce that our teams, the Test of Engineering, Math, and Science, we will be bringing 1 team down to compete for Best in Nation. We did receive a qualifying score in that event. We're very excited.
Thank you. Okay. Thank you all for coming. I see we have a lot of students that showed up. And thank you, parents, for your support. And thank you, board members, for always supporting us and encouraging us. We appreciate it. I'd like to recognize some of our winners at the state competition. We'll start with Ashley Azavino. No. What? He's here. Okay. Mark Beckerly. Yeah, I'm gonna ask you to come up. Gabriella Chin. Dubem Ekuzona. You know what? I neglected to say what they wanted. Terrible. Why don't you tell me that? Okay. Second place, geospatial technology. What did I miss? Mark Beckerly, first place. Catapult design. Brianna Jamadnik, third place, construction design. Kenna Ekuzona, second place, geospatial technology. She's not here. Kaylee Peach, first place, community service video. Devin Roberts, second place, structural engineering. Andrew Salaru, first place, chapter team. Reagan Smith, first place, community service video. Jack Valentino, first place, teams, chapter team. I don't see that. I'll pull it back. Okay. Josh Veres, second place, structural engineering. What? Oh, okay. Emily Reagan, first place, chapter team. Very nice. Gavin Thor, first place, catapult design. Milian Inco. Yes. Second place, system control technology. Olivia Petshower. Third place, Junior Solar Sprint. Okay. Christian Frank. First place, chapter team. Giuseppe Tranchina. Second place, geospatial technology. Jack Valentino, first place chapter team. Here he goes. Okay. Chris Abt. Okay, first place chapter team. No. Abigail Bellows, third place junior solar sprint. Yeah. Jeremy Carr, system control technology. No. Ella Finnegan, third place construction challenge. Yes, who is that? No. We have Luke Roberto. No. Luke Roberto? Yeah. Luke Roberto. Second place, system control technology. What do we got there? Oh, yes, Sean Ward. First place, catapult design. This is Abigail Polyansky. First place, community service video. I recognize you. Okay.
Let's get a round of applause for all our TSA.
Some of the students may have noticed they had 2 certificates, and I waited with them. If you were part of the teams, Team A, could you step forward? That would be, yes, Gavin, Christian, Jack. Right? Okay. For the past 4 years, we've been doing this teams competition. And there's 8 students on a team, and they work together in 3 categories. Last year, we were fortunate enough to win Best in Nation with this team that we sent down to nationals. This year, we had 2 teams compete in the teams competition, and we just received this award. Okay, so you guys can hold it up. 2017 Best in State. Excellent job. Okay. Thank you, parents. Thank you, Middle School North TSA. Excellent job. Excellent.
All right. Yes, we got a picture.
The picture has been taken.
Yep, we snuck in the picture already. Congratulations, boys and girls.
So, as our students find their way back to their seats and our advisors do the same, I'd like to congratulate all of the individuals involved in our TSA program. These are opportunities that not only enrich our educational experiences, but they help shape a brighter future for these children and all the individuals that they'll come in contact for. I think one day if we're looking for jobs, we see some people that may have them and could help us out along the way, because their future looks really bright. So to the Board of Education, I thank you for your unwavering support. Mr. O'Brien, that concludes our student recognition.
Great. I will ask for a 2-minute recess while we allow our students and their parents to adjourn. Mr. Sanasek, are we ready to commence the meeting?
As the board and administrators make their way back to their seat at the dais,
Absolutely.
the board will be back in session. Shall we take the minutes, sir?
Motion.
Second.
Moved by Mr. Miller, second by Mr. Bongiovanni. May I take it around, sir?
Please.
Mr. Miller?
Yes.
Mr. Bongiovanni?
Yes.
Yes.
Mr. Gurman?
Yes.
Dr. Love?
Yes.
Mr. Moretti?
Yes.
Mr. Ryan?
Yes.
Minutes are approved, 7 votes in favor, none opposed. Correspondence that the board has received will be noted for the record. It's now time for the board president's comments.
Thank you.
Mr. Timothy O'Brien, President of the Board, your comments, sir.
Yes. You know, one of the rewarding aspects of being on the Board of Ed is to be able to see the living proof of our work in terms of setting policy and empowering our staff, our leadership to provide the best quality education to our kids. And the evidence is clear. When you think about from the talent shown by our choir and the Scholastic Olympics with all the medals brought back from a very fierce competition, and then to hear about the tremendous success of our TSA students out there. Obviously, the credit goes to the hardworking children who put so much of their passion and effort into achieving excellence, but it also goes into that team collaborative effort between the parent, the teacher, the leadership, and then finally, as they like to point out, and we appreciate it, thanking the board for that support, because that's what makes it really matter for us. And our focus as a board has been, and always will be, student achievement. It's critical. And because of all the things that have happened over the last 10 years in this state, in this country, with disruptions to financial aid, student, changes in demographics, everything else, we've had to struggle with a lot of issues, but we've managed to build and improve on the services that we've had over the last 9 years in the face of significant challenges because of the financial recession and the cuts in state aid back in 2009. I remember when I first joined the board, we looked at a 15% cut in state aid. Since then, we've been in the process of rebuilding our services, our staff, supporting them. We've had tremendous leadership from our previous superintendent, Dr. Ian Golden, followed by incredible leadership from our current superintendent, who's been able to communicate a vision of personalized learning out there, and with his team developed an incredible approach around the RTI structure and looking at ways that we can really identify the strengths of each child and provide those supports for them that enhances it. And we saw tonight that diversity of talent that is apparent in our district, ranging from music and singing to academics to mechanics to everything from building the world's greatest catapult to being able to create videos for the public. And so it's really rewarding for us as a board to see that and to continue that work. And that's our focus going forward. We are in a season right now for the budget hearing, which is going to be held on May 3rd. And the advantage to a budget hearing is that that is a point where we can actually sit down and answer questions. So we encourage every individual that has an interest in how we have crafted our budget and how we intend to fund the services that we provide to our community, to come down that night and to ask questions. And if you want to have those questions answered in depth, it would even be helpful to email our board secretary, our assistant superintendent, business administrator, those questions in advance. And I promise you that he receives those emails and gets those questions. We'll incorporate that as part of our presentation and be able to answer them in more depth, right, Mr. Sensei?
Yes.
Okay, so my hope is that everyone that has an interest in that will attend the May 3rd budget hearing, which will allow us to engage in a dialogue with our community about the budget. So with that, Mr. Isol, I'll turn over the agenda to you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Mr. Sanisak. Again, welcome again to our April meeting. I do have some things to report to the community and to our Board of Education on some of the work that's been happening throughout our district. Obviously, and critically important is that we recognize April as Autism Awareness Month, and we light it up blue, and tonight members of our dais are wearing blue to represent our commitment to this important and necessary awareness. The more we learn and the more we bring awareness and shine that blue light on the issue of autism, the better we'll be able to care for our youngsters, to care for our adults who suffer with autism, and be able to provide environments that are inclusive and certainly tolerant of differences. So I hope that we've all taken the opportunity, and I know that we have so many outstanding special education programs within our school district that do some great work with youngsters who are stricken with autism. So we continue to fight that fight and make sure that the awareness for autism is in the forefront, not only in the month of April, but throughout the entire year. So thank you for participating in this important message of autism awareness. So again, thank you. This month, or since our last meeting, we talked prior about our March Maker Madness event. Again, on March 22nd, we had an amazing event right here to highlight our Maker movement that's happening. You saw our TSA students in terms of STEM and engineering. It was just a wonderful community evening here in Howell Township, and it highlighted the wonderful work that is happening within our classrooms by our professionals and that the students are embracing. I'm really proud of this district's strong desire to continue to transform education and break away from the many visions that one may have about traditional education. And I say to the board all the time, and I say to community members all the time, education is not the same. Reform is the wrong word. It's a transition that's happening, and transformation education is happening here in Howell Township. It was on display March 22nd right here in Howell Township. Our open mic, where we push the messages about the work that's happening in our school district. Our open mic episode 5 is released as a little earlier this afternoon. It went out through our school messenger program. I'll be tweeting it out in the morning. I like to do important tweets in the morning when people are checking their feed. Otherwise you get buried. Twitter 101 for everybody. Yeah, you don't want to be in the middle of the day when everyone's done looking at their feed. So we'll be putting that out tomorrow morning. Episode 5 came out awesome, and it highlights that work. So it was really a community effort. Our students led the charge, obviously, because it was a personalized approach towards learning. It was great teachers who became facilitators, not just teacher-directed work, but rather facilitators of learning. So we want to commend those individuals. And of course, Ms. Engel, who's here this evening, did a great job in spearheading, not just that evening, but the entire movement. And her creativity and passion for this type of work is on display regularly. And I must say thank you to you for the work that you do. And I know the board joins me in congratulating Ms. Engel in getting that really up and off the ground, and I think we're past the launching pad now. I think it's something that's here and embedded, so congratulations on a job well done. I also had the opportunity, I talked about Andy Jr. previous board meeting. Since we were together, I had the opportunity to get over to Middle School South and see the Hairspray Junior performance, what talented youngsters we have in our school district. And it was just great to see the kids in enriching activities, after school programs and things like that. And Hairspray Junior was an outstanding performance done by the Middle School South Players Club, and they did a great job. So I wanted to offer congratulations to everyone involved in that performance. Since we last met, we did have our Evening of the Stars, the Education Foundation did. It was a beautiful night over at Memorial Elementary School. We honored various individuals, certainly including Dick Thompson, a previous principal of, I think, 32 years. He served as principal at Land of Pines, along with many other, Officer Hill and many others. It was a beautiful evening and really a great opportunity for our community to once again rally together and see what's happening in our community. Their next and most important event is the Race to Educate. That will be held on the 13th of May, and that's going to be right here at Middle School North. I think those flyers have been sent home and electronically, and enrollment is now open for the race, and we encourage all of us here at the dais as well as on the community to partake in the Race to Educate. It's a 5K, fun walk, run. We'll be out there, and I'll obviously be participating in the walk, but we'll be out there and hopefully raising funds so that the foundation can help support some of the innovative work that's happening in our schools. We've been part, as I've shared with you previously, we've been part of the Future Ready Schools New Jersey movement. In fact, many of the individuals, not many of the individuals, but a handful of individuals from our school district are sitting on task force helping to shape the certification process. And on May 8th, up at NJIT, there will be a summit for the launch of the certification process. And they will be, we've been invited to attend that conference, myself and Ms. Engel, along with two of our teachers, Mr. Langenberger, who's here this evening, and along with Mr. Rayo, and a board member. I'm requesting that Mr. Miller, who has indicated that he is available, join us, and you will see that on the workshop. There's a no cost for the actual conference itself. So we hope that that will be a very positive experience, and I know that we'll be participating and applying for that certification. I think it's really important when we talk about 21st century learning and the school environments that are existing today. So we're really excited about the work that's happening across the state, and we're very proud to be part of that. Next month, our municipal partners and our commerce throughout the community will be participating in Paint the Town Pink. We've done that for 2 years now. This will be the third year. We will designate our Pink Out, our Pink Day, to be at our May board meeting of May 24th. That's our student Board of Education Day. So it'll be a great night. We'll have a wonderful audience, a real positive vibe, and what a better way to represent the importance of a message, like I spoke about earlier with the autism, in Paint the Town Pink. And I told you the story last year, I'll repeat it quickly. We have an employee whose life was saved because of this effort. She would not have gone for testing, and it was because of the awareness raised through Paint the Town Pink movement that she said, let me go for a checkup. And sure enough, a lump was found and removed, and she's doing well and at work and thriving. So she's very appreciative and always reminds me of that story. So these types of events matter, and they help individuals in ways we can't even imagine. Mr. Preston will be handing out the suspension report. During the last reporting period, there were 19 suspensions for me to report to you. That's making its way around. And I will ask Mr. Preston to share another piece of news that is a source of pride. I shared with you that Ms. Losinger, our literacy supervisor, was published in the journal last month. Well, we have another opportunity where one of our professionals was published, and Mr. Preston, our supervisor of curriculum and personnel, will share that with us tonight.
Thank you, sir. We're excited to share with you. We just got this information yesterday, so we will forward the article to you. The article was published in the American Occupational Therapy Association Professional Journal. It was authored by our own Lenore Bradley from Memorial School. The article is from last year's work, where newly reconfigured Memorial sort of redefining itself. And the article talks a lot about how Memorial used occupational therapy and the work that those therapists do as a way of building the aspects of culture around community and collegiality and bringing everyone together under this theme through professional development and again, themed activities to bring understanding and awareness and integrate the special needs into the gen ed population. So sort of a different ideas and different aspects of how they brought it all together into one community and one sense of belonging to that building. So it's a wonderful read and it's a wonderful article, and I think it really celebrates the great work that was done specifically at Memorial, but what we know that was done across the district as well. So we'll share that with you soon.
Thank you very much, Mr. Preston. And finally, Ms. Sanisak, will we be discussing, and Mr. O'Brien, will we be discussing the summer retreat date tonight? Is that?
Yes.
I had asked the board members to check their calendars and come tonight with information whether the August 5th date was acceptable.
Yeah, if we can, with your permission, sir, table that to our next meeting perhaps. We've been invited to present at Learning Forward conference over in Princeton, and I shared that with you briefly. That's going to be on the 3rd and the 4th.
Right.
And we'll have a lot of prep work building up to that.
So you won't be able to adequately prepare for it?
Certainly we'll be prepared, sir.
No,
but it may be a little bit more fluid if we did it maybe the following week.
Let's not try to do too much all at once.
Yeah, so maybe the next week would be best, but I don't know how that works. So if it's okay with Mr. Sansak's calendars and
we want to do this right, so let's do it at the right time. I think, is the 10th acceptable to everybody? Can we, not the 10th, what's the 12th?
That would be the 12th, I believe.
12th, I apologize. Yeah, is that, are we looking at the 12th?
Checking right now, that's fine.
Oh.
12th does work for me.
Well, I think I'd rather go for a date that's, except, why don't we have everyone check and give some alternate dates as well? Mr. Sanisak, could you coordinate with everyone?
We'll poll or we'll set up a little
Yeah, I'd like to make
free
sure.
date,
I know it's
get the
difficult in
majority.
August, but we'll try to come up with a date in that general range.
Absolutely.
Good,
Great, thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Essel. And you did a great job talking about the one of my favorite events of the year, which is the Howell Township Education Foundation's Race to Educate. My soccer team ran with me last year. Of course, I did not come in first. It was sang the national anthem too. Again, I've been challenged, and we'll face that challenge to get out there with them again. Although, again, I think I'll be distant runner-up. But the key is if we can reach out to all of our partners in serving our children, the clubs of the community, to let them know, to reinforce that, because I think a lot of the athletic clubs and in our community would benefit from participating. Their students would benefit from supporting the foundation, because I believe, isn't there a contest where the kids from the most children from one particular school, that school wins a scholarship? Mr. Gervin, do you want to elaborate on that? I think that's an opportunity.
Yeah, actually now we give, or they give money to the top three.
Top three?
So, and it's a wonderful thing. I would just like to add again, it's something that we look at Maker Madness, we look at the technology achievements in the district, and we realize that so much of the money that's raised by the Educational Foundation, or actually goes for the grants that are submitted by our teachers and approved through our administration. So, Mr. Langenberg, for example, is one example of one of many of using some of those grant monies for programs. So the enhancements are terrific over the years. Tens of projects have been approved because of the tremendous work of our administration and of the teachers in our district who come up with these ideas of things they know that our students can benefit from, and they implement them. And one of the things that I find really marvelous is that although the grants only go up to $1,000 for each grant, sometimes some of these, the supplies and the initiatives that are started in year one that are only to last for 1 year are often applied for year after year. We're able to get so much from that. And I know Mr. Soul has pointed out just how important this is for the district. Yeah.
It is like an incubator, isn't it? You plant seeds, you come up with ideas, you create innovation. And so the more participation we can get, I know we have a goal to constantly try to increase the number of participants. You don't have to run, you can walk. The point is, you can come out, just have fun. But it's a great opportunity for us to support our education foundation. I hope to see a lot of folks there. That would be great. Thank you. I believe, did you want to move that item? Ms. Bundybuck? Okay. Sure. Very good.
It is now time for committee briefs and liaison reports. So, sir.
Terrific. All right, I'll start on my left and ask Mr. Pompey.
The policy committee has not met since our last meeting.
Thank you. Mr. Moretti.
The safety and the advocacy has not met us this past month, but we're planning on having a meeting on the 26th of March.
At 5 and 6, yes.
Of April, I'm sorry, 26th of April. 5 and 6.
Thank you very much.
And we're going to be discussing some of the issues that were brought up earlier.
Okay, terrific. Thank you. Dr. Lowe.
The Education Committee will be meeting this coming Monday, which is April 25th. 24th.
Community interaction did meet last night. Mr. Isola gave an update similar to as he does at the beginning of this meeting on certain things that have happened over the course of the month in the district. There was also a presentation that was given to the few of us that were there on our ESL program, our English as a Second Language program. I say this all too frequently, and I say it often. It just amazes me the quality of work that comes out of our staff in terms of what they are able to do. This presentation was one that it reached to the heart. It touches you in terms of watching the commitment that this staff has towards working with these students who are often coming in with no knowledge of the English language, coming in at the same time while they're having to learn the English language and a curriculum, and to be able to advance. And it was just an amazing program. I thanked the staff last night, and I would hope that that message continues to go forward. It was also a program that, and I realize this is with your permission and the pleasure of the board, it is a program that I mentioned to Mr. Isola there, that if we could ever have a shortened version of the presentation last night happen here. And I think the importance of it is, and especially as we're going to be approaching the budget soon and the budget presentation, I think it is so important for the community as a whole to see the fine work that happens with small groups. I mean, and we're not talking small group, but did I hear 87? 87, I think, was the number I heard last night of students who were involved in the program.
ELL students?
Yeah,
It's roughly,
somewhere in there. So, you know, people don't understand that it's not just 40 years ago coming in and learning your math, your English, your history, and going home. You talked about the autism programs and the different things that happen. It was a wonderful presentation, and I could go on forever about that.
And I'll just, if I may, sir, follow up on that. One of the challenges they face, and we can put this through the education and bring it here, or just bring it here. One of the really unique things that was highlighted and made so much sense when you heard the professionals and the students speak. So they're emergent learners here in a new country, no knowledge of English, still developing their own native language. And we understand that you must develop, and this is the tricky part, everyone thinks it's about teaching English, which it is, you know, that's an important criteria and critically important to their success. But then when you factor in, they must continue to develop their native language so they can continue their normal cognitive growth and the development there. So it's a really challenging program. And I add this because I want to take the opportunity to remind the board and our community that not only do we do the good work, but we're a recognized model program by the state of New Jersey. So it's very, very exciting and a source of pride for our entire school district and for our community that we embrace these individuals into our schools and they become part of our culture. I can remember being the principal here and doing an intake with a foreign student, and they were very nervous about what lunch looked like. So we came down and we did a whole mock lunchroom for them prior, so that when they arrived with their 200 and something peers in the lunchroom, they had a comfort level, they knew how to order the lunch. They were so shaken about ordering lunch or asking to use the restroom. These are just things that come naturally to so many, and you don't take that for granted. And then we want them to learn science and math and literacy. So it's an extremely challenging, and you're right, Mr. Bongiovanni, and on behalf of the staff, I thank you for that, recognizing that, and I thank you for your kind words. And your building leadership is something that, our building leadership really embraces these types of programs in our schools so that they are successful. So thank you for taking the time to recognize that.
It's obvious. One of the things that happens with community interaction is that the title itself, I am probably at the point of begging, and I don't say that lightly. We constantly try to figure out how to get more interaction, how to get more people to attend the meeting. After the meeting last night, I did stay, and Mr. Isola and I are there for just a few minutes at the beginning of the President's Council, which is the PTO presidents. And I give my little spiel there like I always do. And having discussed this with you and with your permission, one of the things I said to the presidents is that if any of them would like to invite me individually or invite someone to come to one of their PTO meetings at a school just to talk about what we do, a very short, I know for me it's tough to say short, but a very short presentation on what we do, and to try to encourage parents to come to the meeting. Some of them thanked me about that, but it led into a further discussion in terms of how to reach out. This would really probably be discussion under discussion items, but I will throw it out tonight just for nothing more than store and think about it, and maybe we could talk about it in the future. But one of the presidents of one of the schools said, if you're really that charged up about meeting people, maybe you need to go out to where they're at. Maybe you need to set up a table at a soccer game or something like that. And as Mr. Azola and I discussed with this particular group last night, we are board members when we're sitting at this table. And to be an individual at an event would need to be something that the board as a whole would need to have some type of discussion. We do go to Howell Day. Typically we have something at Howell Day. But, in terms of, certainly open mic is available to every family in the township. And I'll leave it at this. It's something for you to think about in terms of for future discussions. Would we ever want to go so far? And when I say we, I realize a lot of that falls on me as the chair of that committee, but to make even a greater effort to go out to where the people are and share the message about what we're doing. How we would do that exactly, I don't know, and that's why. Maybe it's even a topic for our retreat, I don't know. But I promised the board president last night, I said, it'll be mentioned tonight. I've fulfilled my promise.
Thank you. I think community interaction and ways we can enhance it should be a topic on the board retreat, so we'll make that happen.
Thank you.
Good. Mr. Miller.
Finance Committee last met on April 4th. We had asked Mr. Preston to come in, give us some overview of the educational program and subs needed for our next budget. So Mr. Preston did present an overview of the programs in general and discuss various methods that the district was utilizing to partner with the business office to reduce costs in the area of adoptions and curricular supplies. He also celebrated the leveraging of our technology and the richnesses of content available in discussion of our new concept for social studies at this middle school level. We're avoiding textbook adoptions of 6 figures and providing a platform that will allow more robust content that is current in real time. And we're looking to do these methods and, through possible creations by our own staff as we pursue the next gen science standard, as well ensure integration among content areas. He also discussed that the substitute course and discussed various methods for delivering the professional development such as summer work. He discussed the balance between course of subs and ensuring that our professionals continue to be properly prepared. In the review of the substitute accounts with his supervisors, he identified 156 requested sub days that could possibly be deleted, and that would be brought into our discussion in our May 3rd public hearing. The Finance Committee is going to meet again on April 26th at 7 p.m. in the board office in the large conference room, and we're going to go over OIT and budget review. So we do encourage the community to come out that evening, of course, and as you know, on May 3rd will be our public hearing of the budget. So if you have any questions, like Mr. O'Brien said, submit them to Mr. Stanisak so it can be covered at that meeting. Finally, I just want to thank Central Administration and my fellow board members for coming out to the Monmouth County meeting on April 6th in support of my re-election to the Monmouth County School Boards as president of the county, and also Mr. Bongiovanni as board of director delegate for the county to the state. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
And Mr. Milliken, congratulations on your re-election. You've been a very effective leader of the Monmouth County School Board Association. Appreciate that, your service. So, and you too, Mr. Bongiovanni.
Thank you.
I believe operations, Mr. Stanisak, can you?
Yes, Ms. Malley unfortunately had a uncle pass away and had to cancel operations.
So sorry. Extend our
And
condolences.
I assured her that everyone would keep her in our thoughts and prayers. But she did, one of the topics I was going to present there is one that she asked me to announce tonight, and that is that there's been some articles in the paper about different districts, and I'm glad to say that we have concluded our lead in drinking water, and all of our tests are acceptable, and we have a statement of assurance signed and sent off to the state, and we have taken care of every one of the issues. I think you may recall that we had some 700 tests, 13 at the original, the way the protocol works, the original sample were above, and they are all remediated and below the level. So we are 100% done with the lead in the drinking water. As we discussed, we will continue to monitor it just to make sure.
Very good.
So that was good news in the operations committee that we would have had.
Good. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Okay, I believe that concludes our committee and liaison reports.
Okay, it is now time for the first public comment. May I, sir?
Absolutely.
Whereas the Howell Township Board of Education determines that comments from the public may last 45 minutes, and those comments will be conducted in accordance with its bylaw 164.1. Individuals may be limited to 3 minutes each. The officer with respect to time and decorum will be the president of the board, Mr. Timothy O'Brien. May the floor be open for public comment. Are there comments at this time?
Leston Dell, 46 Weston and Chiway. First, I'd like to ask the board to consider for future meetings, if it's possible to come up with a times estimate for when the business portion, the public business portion of the meeting would actually begin. Started an hour and 25 minutes after the advertised time for the start of the meeting, because of the executive session, because of the awards, and I understand that some of those things are not predictable, but certainly be helpful to the public and getting the public more involved if you were able to provide some estimates of those ahead of time. I understand that the budget will be discussed on May 3rd. But based on seeing some of the preliminary budget, there are some things I would appreciate if you could think about going into that meeting. One of them was the administrative cost that went up 28% for the last 3 years. From the preliminary budget, looks like principal and vice principal salaries are projected to go up 9.2%. That raises a flag. Why would that happen? Operations and maintenance went up 44% over the last 3 years. Here again, the maintenance salaries are going up 4% in the budget. Custodial salaries, 9.4%. Hourly custodial salaries, 110%. So those are some other flags to consider here on what's going on. And there are various other ones. I've shared some of this with Mr. Sanasek, so he has the information and can share it with you. But I would encourage you to take a look at those places where the numbers are going up significantly and make sure that those are things that you can justify. And I do understand that there's a need to keep the quality of education. It's very important to do that. At the same time, there's also a need to keep costs under control. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
Further questions? Sir, put down to the mic.
Mr. Sanasek, you know those items down, right? So
I got it. I also have, Mr. Spindell and I have been trading emails and trying to connect. I have them, and we were actually addressed some of them at the last finance, so we will address them.
Thank you very much.
Hello. I'm Jack Sillip. I'm also a resident of Equestria. I'm a retired airline pilot, a retired Air Force Lieutenant Colonel, and a licensed engineer of the state of New Jersey. I am not a certified financial planner, and I know nothing about the way you budget. However, I live in a community where I can see a train wreck coming, and there are many people who are desperately in need of relief from property taxes. In an environment where the public no longer has a vote on the school budget, you have a particularly important responsibility morally and fiduciary to limit your spending for the people that are really being hurt. And my concern is that you're doing such a great job for the schools, and I really do applaud what you're doing, but I think you need to spend some time considering maybe not having an increase in a year and making those tough decisions in the areas that you are intimately familiar with that will limit the budget, because there are many people in Howell who are leaving, many people who are having trouble putting food on the table because of their property taxes. I would suggest that you really give some serious considerations to putting a zero increase budget on the table.
Thanks.
That's all I have.
Thank you.
As I get older, I get shorter. Okay. Expanding on what these gentlemen said,
Read your name and address.
Barbara Dixell, 62A Piazza Vittoria, Freehold, New Jersey.
Welcome, Mrs. Dixon.
Thank you. And regarding what these gentlemen said, there were 200 people at the Howell Township Council meeting last night, mostly from Equestria, mostly seniors, mostly people who are suffering. We can't do this. We can't keep paying taxes higher and higher and higher. The highest thing, now we pay what? How much of our 75% of our property taxes, school board?
No, ma'am, not 75.
70 what? It's 70 something. If I remember correctly, it was around 73.
Out of respect, ma'am, I will have, Mr. Sansek, can you give her the...
72.
72?
Well, I wasn't part
No, I mean 72 for the combined
Percent.
regional and...
Yes.
Oh, okay, I apologize, I was referring to us, I'm sorry.
Okay,
It is
so
72.
that, you know what, 72% of the taxes we pay in this township is property tax, is school board. You know, I think that's out of control. It's not fair. I want to see how you guys are going to be when you're a senior citizen, your total income is only Social Security, everything comes out of Social Security. What do you do when you can't pay something? Because you've got to pay the property tax. The highest tax on my tax bill this year not from the library, not from the fire department, not from the regional. $300 raise over last year on your school board. Why? Why? It's not warranted. You think, I don't disagree that you have a great school board, you get great programs, you great everything. You have to draw the line. The Howell Township Council last night heard from the people. They will now have budget meetings. Instead of 4% raise, they are cutting $900,000 out of the Howell Council Township budget per the outrage that went on last night. And I hope the outrage comes out here again on May 3rd, because you people deserve it. You have to consider us. It's the people who, all of us are hurting, but the seniors who live in the housing developments can't do it. We have people in my development who are in arrears because they can't pay. They don't have enough Social Security, they can't meet their medical, they can't meet the, you gotta think of these things. You're now planning your final budget, you gotta think of these things. And I'm gonna say it out loud, Mr. Satisak, I take offense to what you said to me. Oh, you're on a tax freeze? Well, what does that mean? Now I'm on a tax freeze, it doesn't mean nothing. I can raise your taxes anything because you're gonna get it back. No, I'm not. 20 years, 23 years I'm in Howell Township. Last year I finally qualified for a tax freeze. You know what? I'm sick. I'm a cancer patient. I have some nodules. I'm sick, but I tried. So what? So I finally got a tax freeze. That has nothing to do with it. I'm on a tax freeze. So you're on a tax freeze. I'll still raise your taxes $300. Forget it, Mr. Sanisak. You're out of line. You are totally out of line. And I take great offense to that statement tonight. Think about what you're going to do to us, please, before you go ahead and do it and pull the trigger and make sure you just kill us all with taxes. And I hope we have a great turnout on the 3rd. I will try to call a television station. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Dixon.
Further comments? Seeing none, sir, will be closed.
Please. Go ahead.
Are there any discussion items this evening?
Yes, we do have one discussion item for Mr. Bongiovanni, I believe, and I think we are tabling focus topic tonight? Yes. Okay, thank you. Mr. Bongiovanni, you have the floor.
Thank you. One of the things I passed out tonight to the members of the table was a resolution that I had hoped that we could discuss for a moment and possibly pass. Kevin Syak, who is a board member in Sayreville, he's the current president there. Kevin first became a board member when he was a still Rutgers student, 19 years old, has served for many, many, many years on his board. I've known Kevin for a long time. I've watched him in action. I've watched him through his career with New Jersey school boards, where he was the vice president of legislative actions. He was the vice president for county activities. He was the president at one time of New Jersey school boards. In that capacity, I had the pleasure of watching him at different legislative conferences. He is not one who just sits back, but is a vocal advocate for the children of this state. Kevin recently has been elected the president of national school boards. When you think about all of the board members across the country, that's a pretty significant honor to be the president of national school boards. Kevin will continue because, again, I know him and I know his personality. I've watched him, had the pleasure to watch him over the years. He will continue to be an advocate, not just for Sayreville, but for Howell, for New Jersey, and for all the students across this country. What I'm asking you to do is, and I could read this if you need me to, but I would ask the board to consider passing a resolution. I'll read it, it's quick. Whereas Kevin Syak was first elected to Sayreville Board of Education in 1994, at age 19 while still a student at Rutgers University. And whereas Kevin Syak has served as board president of Sayreville Board of Education, as president of New Jersey School Boards Association and many other state association positions, and whereas Kevin Syak has served for many years as a vocal advocate of legislative and educational issues as a member of the Board of Directors for National School Boards Association, And whereas Kevin Syak was elected as the first New Jersey representative in 50 years to serve as the president of the National Association, now therefore be it resolved that the Howell Township Board of Education recognizes and congratulates and thanks Kevin for his dedication to the children of Sayreville, the children of New Jersey, and now all of the children of the United States. Adopted by the Howell Township Board of Education at their regular board meeting held April 19, 2017. With your permission, I'd like to try to put this on the agenda for tonight as an addendum. If we do, it's really nothing more than just saying, hey Kevin, we recognize the work you've done and thank you very much. And it could be presented in a number of ways. If it were adopted, I'd be happy to hand deliver it at one of his board meetings in front of his community. I think it would be a nice gesture.
I have a motion on the table to adopt the resolution. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, seconded by Mr. Moretti and Mr. Miller, but,
Can you make that A6 one?
make that A6 on
Would that be
the
acceptable?
Yes. All right, any further discussion on that?
Not on that, but I have one other thing, just, I guess, personal privilege, if you just allow me 1 second. We have a few students in the audience tonight who are students at either Montclair or Brookdale, and before the meeting tonight, I took a moment to say to them, hey, you know, here's what happens, and we're going to be going into an executive session. It might take up to an hour, and I understand if you're not here when you came out, they're still here. And they're here without even having the privilege of having an agenda in front of them because we have gone paperless. As future educators, thank you. Good luck in your careers, and thank you for being here and trying to understand the works of a Board of Education.
Thank you, Mr. Bongiorno. Mr. Miller.
First on A5, can we pull that?
I'm sorry?
A5, I just have a few more questions on that.
So you want to take A5 and pull it?
Yes.
to the table?
And the other thing is, probably about 2 weeks ago, the township held an affordable housing meeting in Middle School South. And I saw that they're coming and doing another one in Middle School North.
Yes,
Next
the 16th.
Yes. So I just wanted for the community to realize that this is not something that we're running. We have not gotten information from the town on all these affordable housings. I know a lot of people on internet saying that this information was given to us prior to us doing our reconfiguration. And I checked facilities for the 2 years that we were working on redistricting, and all this affordable housing that they're proposing was never shared with us during that time. So this, that information was not given to us during the reconfiguration. But the way that we did reconfigure, in my opinion, I believe that we still have enough room in our schools to accept the students because of the way we did reconfigure, and we allowed ourselves the extra room in those buildings. So I know the community is very nervous that with this coming up that we need to build additional schools, they're saying, or reopening schools. And in my opinion, Mr. Isola can give us information, but I don't think that with what they're proposing that we would come into any of those problems.
I believe, Mr. Miller, my understanding, because I remember I attended one of those facility meetings in many years. My understanding is that our capacity under our new configuration ranges between roughly 5,500 students up to over 8,000 students, correct? And we're currently a little under 6,000 students at the moment.
Yes.
So we have the capacity to see an increase of over 2,000 students without any disruption or impact on our ability to deliver services in our current configuration. Is that correct? Is that a fair statement?
So yes, I'm not overly concerned about first of all, there's a lot of proposals out there. I spoke with the town manager as recently as today, Mr. Sanisak, where these lead, nobody really knows yet. These are simply proposals, depending where they're placed and which ones win in terms of being developed is yet to be seen. As Mr. Sanisak and I said today, we're probably a good 2 or 3 years away from a family moving in. So there's no immediate concern, first and foremost. Secondly, the reconfiguration, as Mr. Miller articulated and followed by Mr. O'Brien, was designed to bring stability. So we didn't have to continue to shift communities from one school to the next And I truly see that that has successfully been done by the reconfiguration. And in fact, there is what we've done by balancing this properly through the reconfiguration. There is opportunity for growth within every single building. We had some buildings that were able to receive a lot of growth previous to reconfiguration, and others wouldn't be able to take another 5 students. Those days are over due to the work of this board and this district. So we're fine. I don't think that we have any great alarm. And this came up, the reason why I share this, it came up at our President's Council last night when we were with the PTO, PTA presidents. So there is concern. You're absolutely accurate, Mr. Miller. But I think that the plan that we went through 2 years ago now has positioned us well for that growth. And we would welcome students, into our community like we have done since our existence. So we certainly can go. We also have the southern asset sitting there in the event of a true explosion, but I don't anticipate that being necessary, nor do I see that happening. So we're in a very good situation to handle this.
At the moment, the demographers' reports seem to be accurate because the population has been, at the time, we were at 6,400 students. We're now down under 6,000. But if that does reverse and begin to increase, as you pointed out, we're well equipped to serve our community. So I think that's something that that fear we can allay and put to rest.
And just, if I may, to the small part of Mr. Miller's comment, not the affordable housing part, but the board has a policy on its books that the township has, after our programs, has second right to the buildings. And when our town fathers ask for a large meeting room, we accommodate them. And that is the only participation we have in those meetings. So that was kind of the first part of your statement. I just wanted to, so it is common when they believe their room can't hold the crowd for them to use one of our buildings.
We're happy to accommodate them. After all, this is the public building. So.
Absolutely.
Very good. Okay, so that being said, any further discussion?
I don't know if you want me to do A5 now or...
If you'd like to...
Since we pulled it, let's put it on the table. Let's take it open for discussion.
Normally we receive backups for this. I'm not 100% sure. But my concern is that when we do this breakfast program with Farmingdale, that our students are not paying more for their meals.
Farmingdale will be paying the same price for breakfast and a nickel more for lunch.
Okay.
In this
I just didn't want our children to pay more.
Sir. If you don't, I'll get it to you tomorrow. I have it in my book. And
okay. I didn't see it though. Okay. No
This
problem.
is an example of one of the shared services provided by other districts that actually enhances our ability to generate revenue.
It's a revenue generator for us.
For background for the public, the fact is that our business office has been utilizing a lot of the resources that we have here in an effective manner and providing services to other smaller districts around in the community, and that's a trend that's continuing to grow. So we hope that that will continue to be a positive offset for our taxpayers by utilizing a lot of the skilled staff and resources we have here. Thank you. Okay. Seeing anything else? Seeing none? Okay, discussion is closed. I
Can we
believe.
take the consent agenda and the
Yes.
agenda, Mr. Miller, is A5 back on? Is that
Yes. I just wanted that.
Okay, I need a motion to approve. Second? Second. All right, Mr. Miller and Mr. Moretti, can we take it around?
Yes. Mr. Miller?
Yes.
Mr. Moretti?
Yes.
Mrs. DePompa?
Yes.
Mr. Gurman?
Yes.
Dr. Love?
Yes.
Mr. Bongiovanni?
Yes.
Mr. O'Brien?
Yes.
The consent agenda and the addenda A1 through A6 are approved, 7 votes in favor, none opposed. Can we take the second public comment, sir?
Yes, let's open up the floor.
Oh, I have readings. We got,
Yes, we'll step back and do the readings.
Sorry about that. On 3000-6, please change the date to April 24th. 4000-8 is removed. 6014, add the name Garden State Environmental, Inc. And 6015 is pulled. With those, I trust the vote is the same.
Yes.
And now it is time for the second public comment, whereas the Howell Township Board of Education determines the comments from the public may last last 45 minutes, and those comments will be conducted in accordance with his bylaw 0164.1. The officer with respect to time and decorum will be the President, Mr. Timothy O'Brien. May the floor be open. Are there comments at this time?
Seeing, very good. Welcome back.
Barbara Dixell, 62A Piazza Vittoria, Freehold, New Jersey. I want to say something about the affordable housing. For a while, the affordable housing was stopped by one of the past governors. It's started up again, but now the Supreme Court has gotten involved, and now the Supreme Court is giving all the townships an ultimatum that you must come up with a fair housing plan. So Howell Township is working very hard and very diligently to try and do whatever they can with, and try not, and I mean not, to get builders' remedies shoved down our throats. That can very easily happen, and these guys can come in, subpoena a court, and petition a court, and get 3,000 houses wherever they want to put them. So Howell Township is working very diligently with the engineers and other professionals to place whatever affordable housing units that the Supreme Court has said we have to have. It's nothing that we came up with. It's something that you are told by the Supreme Court of the state of New Jersey, this is what you're going to do. And you have to come up with a fair housing plan that the Supreme Court will accept. You know, it may not be exactly the number they want, but again, if it's fair, and whatever developments they put in, where some may be in strategic areas. They're trying for strategic areas and not heavily trying to populated areas where they can put developments in or whatever they need to do to meet the demands of the court. That was clearly spelled out that night. And some developments, from what I understood, will be all, affordable housing and apartments, not only, houses, apartments and whatever, and some will be partial, and whatever development is built, a portion of the houses or the units will be affordable housing, but I don't, I would hope to think that will come out okay, because at one point, Howell Township's affordable housing plan was accepted. They were accepted, I think, the first or second round, and now I think they're in the third round or whatever, but they're working very hard and very diligently to make sure that we don't get stuck with builder's remedy. So whatever they do and wherever they do it may not be to everybody's liking, but they're trying to do it where, and the builders are coming to them. They're not seeking builders. They have builders asking them and meeting with them. So we might come out better. We might be in a better position when builders are coming to you to ask you, rather than, getting something pushed at you that you didn't want. So that's all I have to say. Is from what I understood from that meeting, there's a lot of meetings and a lot of discussion going on, but from what I understood from that meeting, they're taking this very seriously, and hopefully, according to the Supreme Court, which is the absolute voice on this, it has nothing to do with anybody. No township, no nothing, no government, no nothing. It's the Supreme Court of the state of New Jersey, every township.
Thank you.
It's out of our hands. Let's hope that we'll come out ahead and they'll do the best. That's all I say. But that's definitely the Supreme Court, not Howell Township. They're following a mandate. That's all I have to say.
Thank you, ma'am.
Additional comments?
So I think it's 8,000 and to Barbara's comments. I suggest all of you get out to the May 16th meeting for the COA, for the Affordable Housing Act, because if you notice, most of the proposals are on the west side of Route 9. So obviously, that's going to impact the fact that you don't have a school really on that side anymore, other than a building. So, and most of them, the rental and the larger developments are looked for south of Lowe's and Walmart and that area. So you guys are going to be impacted. And that's only the 520 to 700 affordable housing units. That does not include the 2,000 to 3,000 homes that are going to accompany that. And it doesn't include, and they didn't have on the map, all of the normal building that is going on in this town that's been approved. In the Ramtown section, there's 3 small home developments going up, 19 to 25 homes in each one of those. So that's putting loads. They didn't have that on the map either, nor do they have the code requirements and the properties for the adjacent towns and communities shown, because that's also going to put a load, and possibly a load, for shared services in our community as well. So I suggest you guys get out there and participate in that one, because it's going to impact your planning. You may not have it planned well enough based on what we're being forced with. And just to give the background on that, the reason the Supreme Court isn't back in control is because the COA committee that was set up by the legislature was allowed to lapse under the current and past several administrations. In them allowing that to lapse, it was allowed to be taken back over by the courts. And now the legislature can wash their hands of it and take no responsibility. So where the towns have no course, and the legislature can walk away scot-free without being held accountable by the electorate. So that's the reason why the Supreme Court now is being a legislative body instead of a judiciary body. So just be aware that it's going to get worse, because this is only round 3. There's a round 4 coming in 2020. So you have 3 years before you can get another round of affordable housing that's going to get shoved down our throats as well. So just be prepared on that one. Thanks, sir.
Additional comments? Seeing none, sir, may the floor be closed.
Please.
That concludes our business this evening.
Motion to adjourn?
Moved.
Thank you.